we have the 2 times the cosine squared of x plus the cosine of x minus 1 equals 0. And we're going to try and solve this. Again, what we try to do is we isolate the trig functions on one side, all the stuff on the right side, and we go from there. I don't know what to do. Do you know what to do? Might have to backwards or back up to something that we learned in our previous math courses a little bit. Would you be able to know how to solve this if I wrote this as, let's say 2u squared plus u minus 1 equals 0? If you saw that, would you know what to do? Would you recognize it as a quadratic? Would you know that that factors down to or solves down to 2u minus 1 times u plus 1 equals 0? And then we know that either 2u minus 1 equals 0 or u plus 1 equals 0. And so this becomes 2u minus 1, u equals 1/2, or u equals -1. Would you know how to do that? Is that kind of jarring some of the rust off? Well, if we kind of remembered that, maybe we can do the same thing with this. And we can start to begin that we will also see quadratics show up as well in our trigonometric equations. So this is basically the same thing over there. So let's factor it down. So I'm going to have 2 cosine x minus 1 times cosine x plus 1 equals 0. I was able to factor it. I can set each factor equal to 0. So one factor is 2 cosine x minus 1 equals 0. Solving that gives me a cosine of x equals 1/2. Cosine of x plus 1 on the other side equals 0. Cosine of x equals -1. So the question I'm asking myself is where is a cosine of x equal 1/2? And where's the cosine of x equal -1? Well, remember the cosine of x equals -1, that occurs at pi. So if x equals a pi, I know that the cosine of x equals -1. Over here, where is the cosine function 1/2? And in which quadrants is that occurring at? Well, that's occurring in the first and the fourth quadrant. So the first time is if I know that x equals pi thirds, I have a cosine of 1/2. And to find the one in the fourth quadrant, what I'm going to do is take the 2 pi minus the pi thirds, and that's going to give me the cosine value or angle in the fourth quadrant. So that becomes, what is that, 6 pi, 6 over 2, multiply both 3 by 3, 6 over 3 pi minus pi over 3 equals 5/3 pi. So the cosine of 5/3 pi is 1/2. The cosine of pi thirds is 1/2. The cosine of pi equals a -1. And so those are my solutions that I have. And I also wanted to find all the solutions that are within, do I have a period right there? Between 0 and 2 pi. And those are all the solutions that I have that are in between those particular functions. Because if I added 2 pi or any integral increase of 2 pi to any of these values, those will extend beyond my range. So my solution to this one are just 3 solutions. And we can solve that in the ways that we've solved quadratics.